Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're very well. And in this session, we will be talking about different concepts in CSS. Different concepts including CSS selectors and different types of selectors that we have, and also about the chronological order of the execution of codes in CSS, and moreover about the naming conventions, how to actually name your classes and name your IDs in your HTML, and how can you actually connect those to your CSS, and about the color property, different values you can give it, and also about the background color property, all those properties related to colors in general, and about the different types of selectors. We have class selectors, we have ID selectors, we have universal selectors, which essentially just selects all the elements available in the web page, and about different types of selectors generally, and how can you actually put comments in CSS, the principles of putting comments in CSS properly in its own place to make your code apparent and visible and also readable for other developers to be able to develop your code and work in your code base. So you have to put great comments, and we'll talk about the principles of that. And also, we would cover the width and height properties in CSS. How can you give width and height to your HTML boxes using that has been created using div tag? That we did a video on that about a couple of episodes ago. A couple of videos ago about in HTML series. You can check it out. And background colors I mentioned earlier, and about the absolute and relative measurement units in CSS. We have pixels, centimeters, millimeters, and different types of CSS units. So we technically call those the units. So we'll cover them and we'll talk about them thoroughly for you to kind of familiarize yourself with these concepts. And we have DevTools, which is a great tool for us developers to explore the web page that we have created and others that have created, and we can easily kind of observe the HTML tag and CSS codes that has been generated to that website. And we could kind of change the font size, the default font size of the browser by just opening the DevTools. So we're just going to cover all these in this session. I hope that you have prepared your VS Code, and also you have had an HTML page opened, and everything is in its own place, and you're ready to dive in. So let's delve into our concepts. By order. So we'll firstly talk about the CSS itself. So just to kind of give you a quick review of what we did in the last session, we just did different things about CSS. Just let me open the CSS folder for you. Okay, so let me just open the more simpler one. We have different folders here. Just let me create a brand new folder called YouTube. Oh my gosh! Let me just open this. Select folder, and index.html is essentially our main page of the website that we're creating. So this is it. It is a boilerplate of our HTML page. So we have different codes right here. We have doctype HTML, which essentially tells the browser to use HTML version 5, and then we have HTML opening tag, and then the ending tag just enclose our HTML codes in it, and to kind of get it across the browser that we are using HTML language. So as you know, our page is divided into two sections, head and body. I'm just going to give you a quick review of what we did on the last couple of videos. And then we have meta tag, which is kind of meta information about our page. And right after that, we have the title tag, which just as other tags, it has an opening tag and the ending tag, and everything inside that is enclosed in between these two opening. And the closing tag is technically called the title of the web page, which is visible and apparent to the user at the top of your web page. And then we have the link tag, which is connects your HTML page to your destination CSS file to kind of give your styles in that file. And then we have the body tag that is just essentially doing the main job is done here. So you are doing the thing that you want to be apparent to your users. So for example, put in many sorts of different tags and content, including kind of classification of the elements, and also about the headings and paragraphs and HR tag, BR tag, any kind of tag available in HTML that you can use, you can put it right inside body tag. So that was a real quick review about the HTML, and then we talked about different ways of relating and connecting and technically linking HTML file and CSS to each other. So it was great. So we have 3 ways of doing that. We had external styling, which you can use an external file. You can essentially go create a brand new CSS file in your destination CSS folder, which is named as CSS here, and then you would just name it as stylist CSS, or essentially any name that you want to give it. So it is optional, but it is recommended for the main page of the website that has a CSS file to be named as style.css. It's just kind of convention that developers are obeying. So that's it. And then you're connecting that external file to an HTML file, and this kind of way of relating and connecting and technically linking those style and CSS files are called external styling. And then we have internal styling, which is the other way of doing the connection. So you're just going to create a new style tag, and in this style tag, you're going to give all your styles, you're going to add all your declaration blocks that CSS is going to cover in this session. So this is called the second type and way of linking and kind of doing and applying your CSS to your HTML. And then we have body tag. So in body tag, you can have the inline styling. You can create and give inline styling to your elements, and this is done just by using the tag that you intend to give it, that you intend to create, and then you're gonna put any content that you want to kind of have, and then you go in the first opening tag, and then you write style, and then in the style tag you just have to give it any sorts of style in CSS. So style is the name of attributes. We technically call all these attribute. So attribute is the name of the kind of it's the attribute of your HTML element. So just given kind of qualities, different qualities, and then you can apply all these using CSS. So style, and then any kind of CSS property that you intend to give it, and then that will work for you properly fine, and there is no problem with it. But it is recommended to use external styling, as it kind of separates and isolates different types of files. For example, you have HTML files, and then right inside that, and right next to that, you have style.css. You have to keep all these separated. Okay, so you wanna have all your HTML codes in your HTML file, and you wanna keep all your CSS codes in your CSS file. And this is the total aim they intend to reach. So this is our ultimate goal. So we always would want to keep all the files of different purpose separated. So this is it, and this is about the HTML tag that we talked about right now. So let's move on. And so this was about the inline styling of giving your elements any kind of style that you want. So you could give it a color, then colon of then red and semicolon. So this would just essentially give it a color of red. So that was a real quick review of what we did on the last couple of videos. And the thing that I'm going to teach you in this lesson is a bit different. I want to deep dive in CSS and show you the different ways of how you can indeed use CSS to create wonderful and fantabulous web pages for you and your users to enjoy, to get a kind of pleasure in your website. You want to give your users kind of pleasure once they have left your website. So this is called UX, or user experience. User experience is the feeling of the user that has been given to them right after leaving your website. So right after leaving your website, this is the thing that user experience is doing. So user experience is the kind of feeling that your website, that your users have right after quitting the website. So you have to ameliorate that feeling and make it much more better by just applying different methodologies. And employing different methodologies I'm going to teach you throughout the course. So this is that you have to take into account. So that's it, and so let's deep dive into CSS. What is CSS? We talked about that completely in the last session. So we want to deep dive into CSS and see how we can actually give the different styles using CSS. So we have to initially create CSS declaration. So I'm going to use CSS. The first step is to have your CSS declaration. So this is what we technically call declaration, and declaration block is the number of lines of code that you are putting and using the CSS in. So let's just have different tags here. So to kind of give beginning, kind of start that simply, so I would use a div tag with a class of box, and we have talked about the class and ID attribute kind of before in our HTML series, but we haven't talked about that thoroughly because this is interconnected. These attributes are interconnected with CSS, and they have many commonalities. For example, you can't use class and ID selector, class and ID attributes in your HTML without using the CSS or sometimes JavaScript. So they are used to kind of give CSS a clue of where are your HTML tags and what are they doing. And okay, so this is the way that we use about the interconnection between the class and ID attributes to your CSS. So you're just gonna use all these jointly together most of the times. So this is your div tag, and then class of box. So it is the identifier of this div that I'm gonna give by in CSS. Okay, when it comes to giving styles, whenever I want to give it styles, I always identify this tag just by using this class name. So this is a thing that happens behind the scenes. So class with the class, so sorry, div with a class of box. This is an identifier for this tag, for this tag. And then I would go for simple h1, and then with a text lorem in it, and a p tag right here. So a lorem, again a lorem of 5, and then you could create a new a tag, and inside that a tag you could go for a link, for example techlearn website. That's it. And about a sharp, so this is it. And so what we're going to do now is to familiarize you with CSS and what is CSS doing indeed. So if you want to use CSS, you have to initially tell the CSS that what are you looking for. What I am looking for in this case is going and finding the div with a class of box somewhere in my HTML code, and then give it different sorts of styles, ranging a major range of styles to this box element. I mean the div element with having the class of box. So I have to look for and tell CSS and say to CSS that, okay, Mr. CSS, I want you to go and explore and find out where is a div with the class of box. So I have to go here and then give it a div. So I want to initially kind of select all the div elements on the web page just by using div and then a space and using curly braces. So this is the structure. This is a structure that we want to follow. So just pay close attention to that. So we have div. We have div. It is the name of our element that we're going to go and search for and look for. And this is the space. So this is not option. This is optional. You're just going to omit that. And then we have curly braces. So curly braces are just gonna the symbol of selecting the elements. So I'm gonna tell CSS that go and look for. So you have to first declare what you are looking for. Okay, what are you looking for? You have to tell CSS what I am looking for. All the div tags. Notice I am telling you that I am looking for almost all the div tags. Okay, I'm removing that almost. I'm looking for essentially all the div tags available on the web page. This is important. Look at my emphasis. It is on all. So you are opting for and looking for all those different div tags right here. And then so in your HTML file, and the CSS is connected to your HTML, and then it is going to look for any div tag available on the web page and just would give it a color of column, for example, of red. So this is a structure that we want to go. And so let's just open the browser. I'm using the opening browser extension. So this is it, and this is our web page. So I am kind of linking these to my website. So That's it. I'm using all the, I am selecting all the div tags right here and just giving them a color of red. And you notice that all these tags that are inside that heading, sorry, inside that div tag are inheriting the color of red from their parent. And this is something we call that inheritance in CSS. So inheritance is something that all the children elements on a parent element are going to inherit the things and styles, most of the styles from their parent. And we will talk about what kind of styles are they inheriting. But right now, I just want you to know that most of the styles that are given to your parents' elements are inherited by its children. So its children are H1 and P, and these are inheriting the color of red from the parent, which is my div. So I have give the parent element a color of red, and all the children inside that, all the children and elements inside that div with a class of box are inheriting the color of red. And this is the essence of the CSS and HTML and the thing that happens behind the scenes. So you're given the color of red, to your HTML, I mean the div with a class of box, and all these things inside that are inheriting and kind of using that style that you have given to your parent elements. So let's just go here and just do a quick refresh, and you see the result. So this is about the declaration block, and we technically call these lines of codes in CSS declaration blocks. So declaration block is just blocks of code, a block of code that contains your selector and the curly braces and about the properties that you have right now. So this is technically called the declaration block in CSS. So having done that, we would move on to the chronological order or cascade in CSS. So all the codes that we write in our CSS file are executed and run chronologically after each other. So this is the thing that I want you to know, that that all the codes that you're writing right after each other immediately are run right after each other, and this is technically called cascading. And just so you know, guys, about the regulation and about the rules of naming your declaration blocks, I mean CSS selectors, is that you can't use a number before your selector. So I can't go here and kind of put a number, any kind of number before my selector. And this is a regulation and rule defined beforehand in CSS that we have to obey. So you have to pay attention to this, that you can't use any number before your selector, just so you know, guys. And the next thing that we're going to do in this session, so it is, all these are managed in Persian language. This is my first language, my English is my second language. So and that's it. So these are about the class and ID selectors. So let's go here. So we talked about the chronological order of the execution of the elements, and about the naming conventions, that you cannot use numbers before your selectors. This is a rule that has been done to CSS, that has been applied to CSS beforehand, and we have to obey that. There's no other option. So about the next thing that we're going to do is that we want to cover the color property in CSS. What is it and what does it do? So let's go, and we talked about color property. As you know, this kind of thing that we have given it here is technically called the property, and then the structure is just like that you put a colon, and then you can give the value of red or any kind of color that you're intended to give it. So, and then to kind of declare and tell CSS that our statement is over and we have done the job. So you just put a semicolon right at the end of your lines to kind of get it across CSS that the line is over and we have done the thing that we intend to do. So it is over, and then you can move on, and then you can go and execute other lines of codes that I have. So this is essential in CSS to put all of these together, to put a semicolon at the end of your lines. And then we have about the color property that we want to deep dive into that. So color property, so about the color itself, color is the name of the property, so it accepts different values. So you can give it different types of colors. The colors are the same, but the way that you give it is important and is different. So for example, when you want to give it a red color, you can just easily type red, the name of the color, and then that would directly apply that color to your code, I mean to your elements on the web page available. And then so you could easily change that to any kind of color that you intend to give it, for example, blue or brown or pink or any kind of color that you can give it. So this is one way of giving and applying color to your HTML elements, and the other way is using the hexadecimal code. So hexadecimal is the way of giving your colors to your HTML elements by using a sharp at the beginning. So at the beginning, just easily put a sharp, and then you can use the hexadecimal code of that color. You have to pay attention that, guys, that each of the colors that are available in CSS and you can use just as blue, red, pink, brown, and any kind of color that you want definitely has a hexadecimal code before, so you can use it and you can redeclare it by using the hexadecimal code of that. So each color has a hexadecimal code, and you can interchangeably use these colors to point to the exact same color by just using the color name and using the hexadecimal color. You don't have any limitation and restriction. So this is about the hexadecimal color. So hexadecimal is the way of giving your colors starting by a sharp, and then right after that you could put the hexadecimal color, hexadecimal code of that color. So if you intend to give it a color of blue, and the color blue behind the scenes has a hexadecimal color that points to the exact same color that you're given here. For example, if I want to give it a color of blue, you can easily change that to be the hexadecimal code of that color, and this points out to the exact same color that you gave it and just now. So it's about the blue color and starts with sharp 0000FF. So this is it. This is a hexadecimal color. This is a structure, and this is a structure of your hexadecimal color. So and then you go here and then just do it a quick refresh. So you see that my headings, my paragraph is turned to the color of blue, and this is the essence of that. So it's about the color. This is about the color of the hexadecimal code of any color that you want to give. So this is the second option and the second way of doing and giving it colors. And the next step, the next way of giving colors is using RGBA color model. So pay attention that we technically call all these things, all these methods, a color model. So RGB is a color model in CSS. Hexadecimal is a color model in CSS. Given the color name is considered somehow a color model. So these are technically called color model. I always emphasize the importance and significance of the expressions and phrases and those expressions that I use in my speakings, in my talks. So this is important for you, and they are the matter of greatest importance. They are the matter of utmost importance for you developers and programmers to know all these expressions and phrases. So you want to give a talk, to deliver a speech, and you want to converse and negotiate with any developer in the world. So you have to be able to talk about what you have done, and this is important. So you have to give it so you have to know about the expressions and phrases available. So you have to know all of these to kind of give a rich talk. So you want to talk greatly. So you want to talk and deliver the exact same that you want, and this is not impossible, but only with the words and expressions and phrases that you use. So using RGBA or RGB color model so these different ways of doing that are technically called the color models. And this is what I want you to learn, and these are the matter of utmost importance for you about the expressions and phrases that I use, so you knew. So about the RGB. RGB stands for red, green, blue. You know. Okay, so RGB. So and these range from 1 to 255. 0 to 255. So each of these colors available in RGB. Each of these colors in RGB are managed in three different options and places ranging from 0 to 255. And this is the thing that I want you to learn. So RGB, so the first option, the first argument that it takes is the R. So R stands for red. So you want to get it across the color property in CSS that how red is it? Okay, how red is it? How red is that color? So you want to get it across that property. So how red is it? I want to tell it that it is full red. Okay, it is full red. So give it a 255, and this is the maximum number. So we have minimum of 0 and the maximum of 255. These are the range. Okay, so it ranges from 0 to 255, and the more it is, the more reddish it becomes. So 255 is the maximum number, and it means the most red color. I mean the most reddish color. So, and then the next argument that it takes is about the green color. So how green is it? Okay, the question is how green is it? So how green is it? It's 255%. No, 255 green. So this is important. We don't have any kind of unit for that. So this is 255 green. And what about the other one? It is 255 blue. Yeah, it is 255 blue. And wow, notice what it creates. So if we just set all these to the maximum number, they jointly create the white color in CSS. So if we just use all these jointly together, they would lead up to the white color, and this is how white color is generated in CSS. So color of given RGB color model, and then setting all of these from the minimum of 0 and to maximum of 255, and all these and each of them are managed from different arguments. These are called the arguments, or in other terms, in the words, we call them parameters. Okay, so but technically, if we just deep dive into JavaScript, we understand that these are we'll get a sense of that. What is the difference between the argument and parameter? But right now, I just want you to call all of these arguments. So these are arguments. These are technically called arguments. So RGB, red, green, blue, and these are the arguments that I want to give it. So RGB is a color model. Let's just have a quick refresh here. Wow, they're not apparent and they're transparent actually, okay? So we're talking about the transparency. So these are transparent and they become white just as exactly like as the background color, I mean the default background color of our website. And they're not apparent, so we won't want that. So we would just change it to 0, 0, 0, 3 zeros, and wow, look at that, what it creates. It creates a black color for us. So let's go and then do a quick refresh. So this is it. So that's about RGB, and then we have RGBA, and this is the other color model that I want to teach you in this video. So RGBA, and what the heck is that A at the end? So A just stands for alpha. So alpha is just kind of the transparency and opacity of your color. So how that color is. I mean, how much of that color is ranging from a kind of, this is how your color is visible. Let me just do a kind of 0.5. And then you see that we are making it more transparent. And sorry, I mean we're kind of making it not. We're kind of the color is not being easily seen by the user. So you're just kind of making that. I mean, we're talking about the opacity. Okay, the opacity is lower. So the lower your opacity becomes, the harder it becomes to the user to be able to finally see your colors. And this is it. So this is the important thing. And if you just change it to be about 0.9, so it's about this, and then we could change it to be 0.1. 0.1 is the most kind of color that you see here. Okay, so it's not really seen, it's not being really apparent to the user. So you're just going to change it by using the alpha. So you can change it. That's about the RGBA color model. You can just play around with them and kind of get a feel of it. And the next thing that we're going to cover is about the HSLA color model in CSS. So what is HSLA or HSL color model in CSS? Just as like we have in here, HSL and HSLA. What are they? What the heck is HSL? So before me teaching you, I just want to teach a really momentous job and duty and responsibility in your programming journey that you're going to use it throughout your programming journey. And this is one of the most important skills that you have to acquire and attain in your programming journey. So you have to be able to, and what that is, you have to be able to search on the Google or any kind of AI tool. So I'm going to teach you in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can actually search in Google, how you can effectively search in Google to be able to reach your goals of your search. So if I didn't know, if I am not able to, in any case, if I'm not able to do a specific task or implement a specific kind of, part of project, and a minor part of project is remaining, and I am as a developer, not and assume that I don't know how to implement that. So I would go and search and look for different resources and regions on different resources on the web, and I can go and search for them in Google. So this is what we want. This is what we want. So this is the important skill that each developer needs to attain, is to skill of search in the web. You have to be able to search the web to be able to accomplish any goal that you want in your project. So you want to do a task that you're not able to do, or you don't have the enough experience. I'm frankly talking to you, okay? So you just go real quick and go do a search, and then you would just come up with different results, and then you would look for different things, the different options that you intend to give, and then you go and do the research. And once you've done that, and having done the research and the search, you would come back to your code and implement, and it's going to select and copy and paste all those things that you have searched, and that will work finally. So we're done, and then we're going to search. So before me teaching you about the HSL, I want you to teach how to effectively search in Google. So HSL, I want to learn about HSL. Let's assume that I don't know anything about HSL. So let's go and search for HSL color model and CSS, and unfortunately right now I don't have internet access to connect to this network right here, and then to kind of go and search. So as you see, how you notice how I am searching, I'm firstly using the expression, the term that is not known for me, that I don't know anything about, and then I'm adding color model and the role of that. So HSL is a thing that I don't know, and I want somebody to teach me. And then about what is it, I knew what kind of thing it is, and then you could easily add that at the end of your expression that you're searching, and then you will come across great resources on the web to kind of teach you and give you the idea of what you're going to do. So, and then it's the technology that I'm going to search, and then the role of it. At least I know about the role of it. What is it, and how can what is it about? I have the idea. I have the general idea of what is it. So I could easily add that to at the end of my expression that I'm using, HSL color model, and then you see that okay, HSL stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. Wow, great information. Hue, saturation, lightness, and these are the terms that, this is an acronym for hue, saturation, and lightness. So you could easily go on different sources, trustworthy resources on the web, just like W3 Schools, or MDN, okay, MDN, or different other resources available on the web, so you can be so you have somebody to teach you about all these concepts. So you come across colors, HSL and HSLA in W3 Schools. You come across this and you open link a new tab, and then you can explore what is it actually. So this is about hue. So hue is talking about that. I just don't want to teach you about the HSL. I just want you to do and search and improve and ameliorate your skill of searching and be able to learn from different resources on the web. And this is important for you. So you don't have your teacher always with yourself. You have to work on your own. You have to be able to work independently from your teacher or any other tutors that are going to teach you. So you have to attain that skill of searching and be independent in programming. As we have different AI tools and different arenas of programming are being amalgamated to the AI, and you're using interconnectedly AI with different parts of your website, so you have to learn all these too. I'll teach you. But HSL calculator, so you see that HSL calculator right in W3 Schools website, and this is a great resource for you to learn these concepts. So this is up to you, and I am not going to teach you about this, but it is the homework for this session they're going to do for the next session. So it's about hue, saturation, lightness, and do the research, and then going to go and explore these color models and W3 skulls. So let's move on to the next concept. So we talked about different color models available in CSS. We talked about the philosophy of hexadecimals, and we would dive into the CSS selectors. We talked about class selectors, and we haven't talked about class selectors. Let's go on. So I would delete all these, guys. Pay attention. So the next thing I want to teach you in this lesson is I want to give you the idea of what is the class selector and ID selector. What are they? How can you use them? Where can you use them? And where are they used? How you can appropriately use and properly kind of put that and enclose those in your CSS file. So let's go here and let's the first thing that you have to know about that is we are dealing with different types of selectors. So we talked about the element selector, div. I want to select all the div elements on the web page, and this is done by just using div selector and then using curly braces. So this is done by just using this, and this is technically called, this expression here, right here, this selector right here is technically called the element selector. The next thing that we're going to cover in this session is class selectors. So if I just go here and give it a class of box, and then I would start with dot box, okay, dot box, and then in curly braces I would give it any kind of style that I'm intended to do. So I would give it a color of red. So this is the thing that happens. So I am telling CSS that, okay, go and find all the box elements, all the elements containing and having the class of box. Okay, we're talking about the multiple different elements that are having this box, that have the box class. So this is it. So all the elements containing box and having box class, you're going to go and select and bring that for me and then give it a color of red. So this is the thing that happens. So class of box and the curly braces, and then you have the property and the value. This is a thing, this is a norm that happens. So and we want to do that. So it is about the class of box, and then you go and select that by just using dot class, and then it will just work properly fine, perfectly fine. This is it, and then we just give it a color of red. So, and then we have about the ID selector, which we call them with ID selectors. So ID selectors, we're dealing with all these ID selectors. So ID selectors are the way of using and choosing and selecting and going and looking for different. No, not different. We're going to look for a single tag in our HTML file using the ID selector. So ID selector, what is going to do for you actually, is that it will look for a single element having the class that has a class of that has the ID of box, and this is it. So a specific element that has a class that has the ID of box, go and look for that, and then once you've got then grab that, go and give it a color of red, and this is what that happens. So I don't have any element having the class of box. You have to give it and change it to the ID of box, and this is what technically happens. So this is about the box ID selector. So ID selector is right here. So you're just having the div tag, and just give it an ID of box, and then in CSS you're just giving that. So go and select all the ID. All the elements having the ID selector, and just give it a color of, and give them all the color of red. And this is what indeed happens behind the scenes. So, and that's it. About the universal selectors, another point about the universal selectors is that once there are times that you want to select all your elements at once, and this is where universal selector comes into play. So you use the start symbol here, and then using curly braces, and as you know, this is called the CSS declaration block. And then inside that declaration block, you can use any property that you want. For example, I would give all those tags in my web page a background color of blue. Certainly, we could use different properties. We have color. Besides that, we have background color, and it is really apparent. It is really clear that what it does. So background color gives a background color. Color gives a color. So this is nothing to be explained. So I am selecting all the elements on my web page, and I'm telling the CSS to go and look for all the elements available on the web page, and then give all of them a background color of blue. And this is what happens. So give all of them a background color of blue. And as an exception, I want my box ID, any tag having the ID of box to kind of have the background color of red. And this is it. So my class of box, the box class is having the background color of red, and this is my exception. So, and that's it about the universal selector. So universal selectors, what it essentially does is it's just selecting all the elements. Color of yellow. Just select all the elements and give them color of yellow. Oh, it's not a really eye-catching. So let me just change that to be green. One of my favorite colors. Great. So about the green color seems better. Yeah, it just seems better. So that's it about the universal selector. We talked about the class selector, ID selector, universal selector, and I want you to know how we can jointly select all the elements together. For example, if I had a class of box and then right after that I create a form, create a form with inputs inside that, input with the type of text and then placeholder of, we have definitely talked about the form elements, the form tag in our HTML series completely, and you can check it out by just going out to our HTML series, and they're explained completely with different examples that you can cover. They can really easily learn. So it's about the placeholders, the placeholder of your name, and this is it. So input with the type of text and the placeholder of your name, and then what we're going to do now is to kind of select these elements together. So I want let's just have a quick refresh here. I just want the background color of my input to be blue, just as I want this H1 tag right here to have a background color of blue too. So this is the thing that happens just as like this that I'm talking that I'm writing. So we have to firstly select the H1 tag, and then right after that we select the input tag. So using the comma, this is a comma sign to jointly go and kind of search for and look for and select these elements together. And this is kind of group selector. Okay, so selecting group of selectors. Okay, selecting group of elements. Yeah. And that's it. So let's just give it a background color of any color that we intend to give it. Maybe this color. That's it. So, and there we go. This is kind of result that we intended to give it, that we intended to have. So it's about the H1 tag and then input tag. So I am telling CSS that go and select all the H1 tags on the web page. And so beside that, go and search for and look for input tags and select all of them together, and then give it a background color of this color right here, and then there we go, this is done. Thank you so much, guys. I don't want to lengthen this video because we have a way to go, but we have different things to cover. I don't want to put all these in this session because that would be really fatiguing, but I just want you to practice and do different things and kind of take notes and do the different projects with these things. And actually, we haven't reached the level to do projects, but I just want you to pay close attention to the things that I say, and that's it. So we're going to cover many things in the next session about the width and height of the elements, about the background color, and measurement units, about absolute and relative measurement units, and I want to familiarize you with DevTools in the next videos. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm really happy and ecstatic that I have you guys watching my videos. So this is really great, and this has been perfect. So thank you so much for your time, and have a good day.